Okay, Indiana in at number 5, taking on the second-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. Buckeyes about a 13-point favorite thereabouts. Total is around 51.5. This game's noon Eastern time on Fox. Now, through 10 games, if you look at what Ohio State has faced, they've already played two of the top 4 teams in the CFP rankings. Pretty ridiculous gauntlet that they've had to navigate through. And here they are now playing their third. So the fact that the Big Ten is up this high in the rankings is amazing. The fact that Ohio State's run about as difficult a gauntlet as you can imagine tells you all you need to know about their candidacy. This will be the first time Ohio State is having a home field advantage, though, in these games. They went to Penn State. They went to Oregon. So I know they're excited to get people in Columbus there in the horseshoe. Ohio State's won 29 straight against Indiana. But if you look at Indiana's season and this year's version of Indiana, things very different. They've scored 30-plus points against just about everybody they played, everyone not named Michigan. So this is a different Indiana team. Questions that will decide the game. Question number 1, can Indiana's passing attack continue to flourish? If you look at what Curtis Rourke has done since transferring over from the MAC this past year, leads the Big Ten with QB rating. Second in the country in that category, by the way, if you account for guys that have had at least 100 attempts. He's played a ton of football. The guy's got 43 career starts. So he's seen it all, right? And he's played against a good defense this year. I don't think he's played against super elite defenses every week, but he has played against some good ones. And Michigan is one of those things, by far the best defense he's played. And it's a talented one. But the kind of the metrics, looking at the numbers from Michigan's group, not as good as maybe they've been in years past. So good group, but maybe not a super elite group. The good news is about Curtis Rourke. They're going to create chunk yardage opportunities. That's what they want to do. That's what Oregon did to Ohio State. And I think that's what Indiana is going to try to attack Ohio State with. We know that this is a wide receiver core that is painfully underrated. They got 36 contested catches in the country. That's, among the highest numbers in the country. Surratt, by the way, their top wide receiver, he's got 15 by himself. So if you look at where Ohio State is defensively, they're amazing. But I don't know at this point if Ohio State has seen a passing attack that is as good as Oregon's. This is the closest thing to it, right? When they're clicking on all cylinders, Indiana is excellent. Question number 2. Can Ohio State's offensive line handle Indiana's front? Because no secret that Ohio State's offense has been a little up and down. That's been documented on this show. I think that's documented universally. Part of their challenges this year is that the offensive line's been a little inconsistent, especially since Josh Simmons got hurt. Now, he got banged up. They tried to replace him with Zen Michalski. He got banged up. Now they've slid left guard to Donovan Jackson to left tackle. So they've kind of rearranged. And then this week they lose Seth McLaughlin, their center, in practice to an Achilles injury. So they have been a little bit better the last couple weeks along the offensive line because they finally figured out how they want to sort things out on the left side. But now you lose the center. So does that have an impact in the game? And this is a group now with Indiana that I think is underrated up front defensively. Mikhail Kamara is one of the best players up front in the Big Ten. He's probably, let's just acknowledge where they're probably going to try to attack Ohio State. I think he'll probably try to attack Donovan Jackson. I think they'll line up number 6. They'll try to go after him. The guy has won a lot of battles this year in an obvious passing situation. So that's going to be interesting. And then when they're not rushing the passer, how will they handle the run fits? Because Indiana this year, really, really good in their run fits. Their run defense is number 1 in yards a game. Their run defense allows just 2.5 yards a carry. That's number 2 in college football. But what's an amazing stat is that, now I did not track this. This is according to ESPN's True Media site. They've given up 31 yards before contact this season. Next closest in the country is 175 yards given up. That's UT San Antonio. So they are number 1 in the country by 144 yards. That's before contact. So they're good. They're in the right place, and they're usually pretty sound when it comes to tackling as well. Question 3, will Ohio State's defensive front win along the lines of scrimmage? Now, if Ohio State can stop the run without putting an extra defender in the box, that's going to change things drastically because Indiana's an RPO-based team. And the best defense that Indiana has played this year is Michigan. Michigan did have some moments of brilliance against this Indiana team. So that with the RPOs, around 90% of Indiana's offensive passing attempts come from inside the pocket. Rourke also is not really a threat to run. He's not a guy that's going to scramble. He's got 14 scrambles this whole season, but he will kill you with how quickly he gets rid of the football. He gets rid of it in around 2.5 seconds. It's the 10th fastest in college football. So if Ohio State's front can't get home, or if Ohio State's front struggling to stop the run, that could be really significant. Question 4. What about Will Howard against Indiana's pass defense? Will Howard leads the Big Ten in touchdowns, 24. And if you look at how he's played, it's quietly been excellent. We've been enamored with other guys in the sport, and we've been enamored with other guys in other parts of the Big Ten, even with Dylan Gabriel and company. But I think Will Howard has been everything that you could possibly want with him transferring over from Kansas State. Really solid, and he's going to be going against an Indiana defense, going to employ a lot of zone. They're not going to try to line up one-on-one and go one-on-one with these wide receivers. I don't think that'd be a winning recipe for him anyways. So they're going to try to disguise coverage. They're going to try to confuse, and Will Howard's got to be really smart and make sure he doesn't get baited with where Indiana schemes their coverage strength. I also look too, and you look at these matchups, if there is one-on-one matchups to be had on the outside, and I don't think there will be. I think we're going to see a lot of zone. I think they're going to do some smart things in coverage. Jeremiah Smith against D'Angelo Ponce. Jeremiah Smith's a monster. D'Angelo Ponce is not overly long. He's 5'9". He's a battle. He'll battle. He's a great football player. But if it becomes, a tale of the tape, does the size advantage on the perimeter that Ohio State has in a few different places, does that factor in as well? And then finally, question number 5. Will Ohio State's difficult schedule pay some dividends right here? Like we talked about already, this is Ohio State's third game since October 12th against a Big Ten team ranked currently in the top 5. And last time I checked, Ohio State goes against the number 2 ranked team every single day in practice. So they are battle tested, they are weathered, they have seen it, they have done it, and they've done it in hostile territories. The toughest spot that Indiana's been in this year has been maybe a road trip to East Lansing. Michigan State might be between 13th and 15th in the Big Ten if we're going to stack them up 1 through 18. Maybe the best team they've faced is Michigan. Michigan, maybe they're number 9 in the Big Ten. So it's a significant step up in competition for Indiana. Couple trends in the game. Indiana's 8-2 against the spread this year. That's tied with Arizona State and Colorado for the best record among Power 4 teams. And Ohio State is 1-6 against the spread in conference play this year. That's the second worst in the FBS. I'm taking Ohio State. I would lay the points, but I don't think this is going to be a run out of the gym scenario. Ohio State doesn't feel like a team that's going to rev their engine and just dust the opposition and leave them behind by 30 points. I don't see that version of Ohio State, or at least I haven't seen that version of Ohio State. They play complementary football. They grind you to a T, and I think they'll grind Indiana down and defend them well. But I would also anticipate Ohio State feeling very comfortable in the fourth quarter with a multi-score lead.